Technicians of Perception. Written and narrated by Esther Terrestrial. Chapter 1. Media. Prefabricated, repeatable, and dressed to kill. Before light could be neatly shrink-wrapped and put on sale in small, attractive packages, people told one another what the world meant. They did this with the blunt instruments of voice and gesture. A pointy finger, a raised eyebrow, an account of the one-time Old Man Ferris swore at a pigeon and the kingdom changed forever. These transmissions were fragile, lost over a bad winter, altered by a neighbor with a flair for the dramatic. But they left a pattern. Image and rhythm sewed belief to habit, like a very stubborn pleat. Machines later took the stitchwork seriously. Ink swelled sermons into pamphlets, which made arguments look tidy. Film multiplied jokes into jabs, which made them slightly more tolerable. And airwaves multiplied voices into a communal hum, which made everything sound urgent. Each new medium brought a new grammar for shaping attention. What began as persuasion, convincing your neighbor to lend you a ladder, became programming. Prefabricated, repeatable, and dressed in a suit that said, "Trust me." They called it programming because naming things makes them feel less terrifying. It fit into elegant, prefabricated language. A seed of image, a loop of rhythm, a callback of emotion. At first it was crude. Pamphlets and broadsheets folded into streetlight conversations. Sermons that roused the faithful and mildly inconvenienced the skeptical. But even then, an impulse ran through the work. To shape what people saw as possible, true, and desirable. The impulse learned to hide, which is what clever things do when they want to be taken seriously. Chapter 2. Ink and Oratory. In the city's iron age, podium and printing held court. Words moved slowly enough to be inspected by memory, rumor, and a competent cynic with a ledger. Still, the first technicians of perception found leverage in cadence and repetition. A pamphlet could inflame a street for a week. A sermon could reframe a scandal into divine testing. A poet could make the "thou shalt nots" sound apologetic. This was programming at human scale. No circuits, just minds and the patterns that fit them like an ill-advised hat. Chapter 3. Frames and Frequencies. Radio arrived and did what all brilliant, slightly alarming inventions do. It proved that voice could travel without the inconvenience of wires and without the social awkwardness of visiting someone's house. Voices slipped into kitchens, factories, and bedrooms, bearing news, music, and drama, as intimate as a whispered opinion and nearly as invasive. Early broadcasters fancied themselves public servants, delivering national unity, emergency alerts, and serialized storytelling that knitted listeners into shared pulses and excellent potato boiling background noise. The medium's intimacy created a bond of trust, which, useful and dangerous, meant people would believe things quickly, and often. Governments discovered that radio was splendid for wartime morale, and other matters requiring coordinated shouting, while advertisers discovered jingles. Tiny, melodic instructions to buy, buy, buy. The serialized radio drama perfected timing and suspense. Cliffhanger ensured listeners returned night after night to discover whether the hero would finally find his missing left boot. When television stole the visual thunder, radio did what any adaptable medium would do. It became itself again, more immediate, obsessed with music, local personalities, and talk that sounded as if someone in your town had opinions and time on their hands. DJs became curators and gatekeepers. AM and FM neatly packaged you into demographics you never knew you fit until a commercial told you so. Corporations later standardized playlists and optimized formats, which is a polite way of saying your Aunt Mildred's request hour, was replaced by efficiency and a relentless desire to sell laundry detergent. Then the internet happened, because the omniverse enjoys evolution with upgrades. Radio's descendants, streaming audio, podcasts, algorithmic stations, turned intimacy into on-demand discovery. Podcasts resurrected long-form storytelling, investigative zeal, and the comforting illusion that someone, somewhere, values nuance. Influencers migrated in, bringing sponsorships and a talent for making a mascara look like a life philosophy. Programmatic audio ads learned to insert themselves at the exact moment you felt most alone. Today, audio still shapes mood and belief. Voice normalizes. Music encodes mood. Serial releases cultivate loyalty. Only now it does so with more targeted ads and slightly fewer vanilla-scented cinematic prompts. Chapter 4. Trojan cartoons and almost believable flicks. When the projector first threw its light, people clapped and forgot to be suspicious. Early animated shorts were whimsical. Rubber-limbed animals in improbable scenarios, doing things that physics politely declined to explain. But cartoons proved to be excellent Trojan horses. Their art of simplification, exaggerated features, neat villains, questionable moral arcs with the clarity of an ill-labeled map, was perfect for encoding ideas under the comfortable patter of laughter. Cartoons mapped fear into shapes children loved. Spiky villain, smug authority, sly hero. Parents watched with nostalgia while the program installed durable pathways in the youngest minds, pairing brand, identity, and whimsy. Cartoons quietly became public pedagogy. Entertaining, repeatable, and stubbornly instructive. Chapter 5. The credible veneer. Documentaries arrived in sensible clothes and rational shoes, promising evidence, archival footage, expert faces, and maps with tasteful shading. They wore the robes of science and thereby borrowed its authority, which is a neat trick if your documentary also happens to favor a particular conclusion. Selection, emphasis, and omission are the documentary's tools. 3 small, polite ways of suggesting what is worth believing. Some documentaries genuinely illuminated. Others learned to master the comforting fiction of objectivity. Either way, the format conferred legitimacy. Put something in a soft focus interview and audiences will nod as if hearing the weather forecast. Chapter 6. News, the instant oatmeal of now. News evolved from a mechanical tally, sober columns and telegraphs, into a relentless heartbeat played at a tempo designed to make your attention impatient. Where newspapers allowed the comforting act of deliberation, the 24-hour feed demanded instant comprehension and an outrage peppered with nostalgia. Editors optimized for attention like chefs optimizing spice, a dash of anger, a pinch of surprise, and a generous helping of fear. Complexity is expensive. Certainty is cheap. Thus, the program rearranged coverage into a tidy cycle. Scandal, threat, reassurance, distraction. Repeat until cognitive fatigue sets in. Anchors and analysts became ritualized solvers of moral puzzles, delivering verdicts in neat, little time-stamped packages. Chapter 7. From hoardings to hype machines. Advertising began as blunt persuasion. Billboards, jingles, and glossy pictures that interrupted your day at predictable intervals. Its craft refined the program's toolkit: repetition, archetypal characters, the trustworthy doctor, the happy family, and emotional hooks that tied goods to identity as if identity were a limited edition sweater. Television perfected the 30-second aspiration. Commercials became mini-dramas, and brands sponsored programs to borrow their credibility. The commercial agenda learned to masquerade as culture. Holiday campaigns, celebrity endorsements, and branded entertainment blurred the line between message and shared experience. Then came the internet, which decided to be helpful by tracking everything you did and offering tailor-made persuasion. Early banners gave way to programmatic buying and personalization. Ads stopped interrupting and started blending in. Native ads and sponsored content made persuasion feel like an accidental tomb discovery. Influencers, people with exquisitely curated lives, converted personal trust into commercial currency, making recommendations seem like friendly advice rather than a fuzzle mop of paid persuasion. Micro-influencers targeted niches. Macro-influencers sold dreams. Platforms rewarded engagement, so the content that stirred strong feelings spread fastest, and quietly, commerce became a social artifact. Chapter 8: Algorithms and Amplification. Then the program looked at itself and thought, what if I were smarter? Algorithms monitored what made you click, linger, and share. They rewarded the content that provoked the most dramatic reactions. Cartoons looped on autoplay, documentary clips became viral hooks, news bites compressed into colorful, outrage-friendly capsules. Machine learning optimized for engagement, not for truth, because truth does not always inspire clicks. The program learned micro-targeting, whispering different truths to different demographics, like a very attentive but morally ambiguous tailor who custom-fits reality. Chapter 9: The Feedback Loop. As the program refined its craft, perception folded itself to accommodate the images it served. Sensation trumped the source. What felt immediate became fact. Memes condensed histories into silver-dollar icons. Cartoons transmogrified satire into crooked shorthand doctrine. Documentary reels did so much heavy lifting that nuance took a sabbatical. Communities formed around curated realities. Belonging hardened into belief, and disagreement became a form of social exile. The program gently nudged perception toward altered agenda alignment. Groups came to see reality through lenses optimized by profit and power rather than by the old, messy notion of shared evidence. Chapter 10: Resistance and Reflex. Not everyone surrendered. Independent journalists, scholars, and a stubborn cohort of librarians and educators built counter-programming, annotated footage, long-form verification, and media literacy schools teaching people to spot framing and motive. Artists repurposed cartoons to satirize the very archetypes they once reinforced. Communities experimented with slow news and reintroduced the potentially radical idea of waiting for facts. The program, ever adaptable, co-opted critique into spectacle, because spectacle is good at swallowing dissent. Still, pockets of disciplined attention persisted, showing that perception can be trained toward clarity if people are willing to exercise the strange muscle called patience. Chapter 11: A Reservoir of Images. Now the metropolis hums with a vast reservoir of images, each waiting to be instrumentally useful. The programming operates across platforms and generations. Cartoons are now cross-generational shorthand, documentaries are both illuminating and muddling, and news is indispensable and corrosive, often in the same breath. The program's architects, corporations, states, and cultural entrepreneurs blend sincerity with strategy like chefs seasoning a dish they don't entirely believe in. In living rooms, kitchens, and commuter feeds, humans ingest narratives calibrated to influence. Some of it nudges towards civic good, public health drives, educational animation, while much of it prefers narrower agendas, polarization, consumerism, and loyalty to curated identities. The line between persuasion and programming is delightfully blurred because both now use the same grey, mundane grammar, rhythm, imagery, and repetition. Chapter 12. A Choice Encoded. This is not a tidy conspiracy, but a co-evolution. Technology learning the habits of its users, and users learning the prompts of technology, like partners in a dance, neither of them fully choreographed while each dancing on two left feet. Programming will not vanish, it will be rewritten. Future revisions will favor decentralization and transparency, and harden into ever finer personalization that co-creates your breakfast preference before you do. What remains stubbornly human is the capacity to notice, to insert a pause between image and assent, to ask who carefully placed that idea in your stream, and to refuse the comfortable certainty sold in 30-second segments. If enough people return that pause to the center of attention, the program loses its seamlessness. A cartoon can be a laugh again, a documentary can be a beginning instead of a verdict, a news cycle can inform rather than inflame. For now, the programming continues, one bright frame at a time, waiting for more of us to look not only for what moves us, but for who moved it.